Hi, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of the podcast. This is live episode 64 of the Matt and John Make a Podcast. And right off the bat, you can see uh, we have some election talk. John is pretty much going to defer this to me, mainly. Uh, he can agree. He doesn't like politics as much, right?
I hate politics. Just I've been
Yeah,
pretty
me
outspoken about
too.
that.
Yeah, me
So,
too.
so,
But since
so
it's
yeah.
this too. Yeah. Since it's this Tuesday, figure just go over it a little bit. I got a little map here and kind of just a little preview and see what possibly could happen. So using Real Clear Politics website, I like their website, have all the polls, they average all the polls together, and you can make your own map like you see here. So their average of the general election of all the different polls from everywhere, all the big ones, as the average of 51.3% for Biden, 43.5% for Trump. That's 7.8% for Biden. Now, if you compare this to the same time last election in 2016, of course, you had Biden at 7.8. Clinton was only up on average polls 2.1. So bigger margin for Biden this time than Clinton was 4 years ago. And then if you just compare the top battleground states, the ones you hear the toss-ups that are very close, that can go either way, you have Biden at 3.1% compared to Clinton at 1.6. So much a little bit wider, about two percentage points wider this time around than Clinton. Now, if we're looking at the map here, I had the red and blue to states that likely to go whichever way, and the gray ones are toss-ups that are close enough in the polling that it can go either way. So if we look at, let's start here where I wrote down Wisconsin. Wisconsin, as of now, is 6.4 points on average to Biden. This point last year, 4 years ago, Clinton was up 5.5, but Trump ultimately picked up at 0.7%, very narrow. I'm just going since Biden is up ahead a little bit more, and historically, the last previous two elections, before that, 12 and 8. Oh, there we go. Sometimes it refreshes. I'm gonna switch that to Democrat, and you can see the Electoral College votes up top, 226. As of now, Trump's 127. Minnesota, Biden's up 4.7 percentage points this time. Last election, Clinton was up 6, and Clinton only won by 1.5. And then the two elections previously went Democrat. So I'm going to think this is likely going to go lean Democratic there in this election. North Carolina is one of the bigger ones everybody's talking about. This is very close. Biden's only up 1.2%. Trump won this 4 years ago by this time last year, 1.5, and Trump ultimately won 3.7. So I'm gonna leave this one go because I'll show you guys in a little bit. Georgia, this is surprisingly close, leading Biden by 0.8. Trump won this by 5.1 and historically is Republican. So I'm going to think this is going to edge out Trump down there in the South. Michigan, this was a surprise last election. Trump ultimately won by only 0.3%. but still, you win by 0.3, you get all the votes. Clinton was up 4 points last election. Biden's up 6.5. Historically, this is Democratic state. I'm going to think this is going to go Democratic again around the Great Lakes there. Nevada, somehow this is a toss-up, even though Biden's is 4 points. Clinton ultimately won 4 years ago, and this is historically Democratic. So I think this is going to be a Biden win. Arizona is a toss-up. Biden was winning, but Trump, on average, the latest polls are up 0.6. This is historically Republican. I think he will scratch out a win. Texas is still a battleground. Trump is up 2.3. Historically Republican. I think this can possibly go Trump's way, most likely. And Iowa, this is close, 1.2% in favor of Biden. Trump won the last election by 9.5 points, but historically Democrat. I can see. I'm going to go Biden squeezes this out. So as of now, right now, Biden, if this happens exactly, Biden is 264 to Trump's 192. Now, this is why I love these 4 states out: Ohio, PA, North Carolina, and Florida, because historically they're always battleground. My prediction, I think Trump has to win these 4 states in order to win. So if he wins Ohio, it's a tie right now, 46.2, 46.2 on average. Trump at this time last year was polling 2.8, but won 8.1%. North Carolina, very close, 1.2%. Trump was ahead 1.5 this time last year, but ultimately won 3.7. So again, and in Florida, it's close, 1.2 again. Clinton was up 1.2 last election, but Trump won 1.2. So consistency is key in Florida. But if you see here, we add Florida in. If Trump wins these 4 states and everything else, you go historically works out, Trump narrowly wins 274 to 264. You need 270 win. But if Biden wins everything the same, any of those states,
Okay.
I'm
good. Or a podcast. Yeah, that's okay.
Then I think he wins. So these 4 states are, I think, very critical, and they're close for Trump. I think if Trump loses, Biden wins any of those 4, I think it's very hard for Trump to win. He would have to maybe flip. You can probably trade North Carolina and Michigan if somehow Trump wins that. But if he does win Michigan, I think it's going to be very, very narrow. I don't think he would have to flip other states. So I think it does come down to these 4 in gray. Just the numbers look better for Biden than compared to Clinton. Like I said before, a lot of things that take into consideration is leading into the last election. Not a lot of people liked Hillary. That was the whole thing, and now we have Trump that had about 3.5 years in office. So what you think he has done and what he has done plays a role into what people's minds go into it. We had, obviously, what we still are experiencing right now is the pandemic. How you think he handles the pandemic, amongst other things, plays a role in it. So that's gonna be very interesting. I think I just have a feeling it's not gonna be a blowout. It might, if all these toss-up states go to Biden. again, very possible. So it's 346 to 192. That's a significant victory. But again, I think these are the states to watch come Tuesday. The big ones. I mean, Arizona, Texas, and Georgia are very close too, historically Republican. Um, if Biden flips those, that's going to be a big win. Um, I think if he flips Arizona, Texas, Georgia, especially Texas, is 38 votes right there. That's going to be a killer. Um, I think for Trump, regardless of those 4 toss-up states. So if Trump's hang on to those 3, and then I think, and we see maybe Wisconsin, that's close, Michigan, probably going to be Democratic, but close. But again, these 4 states are very critical if Trump wants re-election, and we'll see, because the pollings you saw last year, everybody thought it was going to be Hillary in a landslide, if you remember.
Yeah, that was all that I was hearing up until that, and then it kept on getting closer and closer, and then sure enough, she ended up losing. So pretty crazy.
Yeah, so it's going to be very interesting on Tuesday. I'm going to have watching multiple things. I know stuff like the election stuff. It's always been interesting to me. Just watching numbers come in. There's going to be, I think Joe Rogan's doing his election party stream thing, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to watch that. He has Alex Jones on
Again.
again. That's gonna be hilarious. Just to watch his take and opinion. I wish he had, like, we talked like Bill Burr or something on that, because Bill Burr in the last election, I think it was Rogan's thing, because he was there too. It was a whole bunch of comedians and they were talking, and Bill Burr just like went on this one, I forget her name, female comedian, and it was glorious. So that is pretty much talk about just good coverage there. It's on like Real Clear Politics website, so it's gonna be interesting. A lot of people are gonna be upset and or happy on Wednesday of next week. It's gonna be interesting. The reaction is what's the interesting part from both sides.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm definitely expecting a lot of protests to be happening, regardless of who wins.
Yes.
So I mean, I mean, social media is gonna be pretty insufferable. The next like
Tuesday,
few
yes.
days. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's gonna be a pain in the ass to see, but that's just pretty much the case. But now on to some more fun things, Matt. And it was a very important week, as on Friday was the first episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian. So Matt, overall thoughts and just some of the Easter eggs that you were
As
finding
always,
on that.
it was always good. This series is just phenomenal. The big thing everybody's taken away, spoilers if you haven't watched it yet, so fast forward or whatever. And I should have saw it the first time when I watched it, because I watched it twice. The big hit was the Mandalorian armor from the guy playing the marshal in the town. Forgive me, I forget the name. On Tatooine, he bought it from Jawas when his town was overrun by not the mining, some group. Oh my God, coming in and kind of turned the city into slaves. He escaped and he took Oh my god, here's my Star Wars fandom collapsing. Crystals. Oh my god, I forget the name of the crystals. Whatever. And got saved by Jawas. Right, Jawas, yeah. Those are the names of them, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. And they traded the crystals for the armor, Mandalorian armor, which then at the end of the episode, after Mando wins it back from, not wins it back, but gets it back from helping kill that big
Dragon.
yeah, dragon. You see as he flies off, or in the skater or whatever, in the whatever, you see somebody standing there watching him, and he turns around, walks up to the camera, and it's none other than, I forget the actor's name, but the person who played Jango Fett in the prequels, um, but ultimately is playing Boba Fett. And it makes sense because his son was a clone of him, and then they used his DNA to create the clones. So it was all the same. And I should have saw that realized that the armor that the Marshal was playing or wearing looked like Boba Fett's uh, armor, Mandalorian armor. And I think it's apropos. I think this obviously was on purpose. Boba Fett in the original trilogy supposedly died in the getting eaten by that monster in the sands, Tatooine. And in this episode, Mando purposely gets eaten by this big monster. You think he's dead, but he comes out with the explosions and survives. So that was a good, how you would tie it in, foreshadowing or what have you.
Things to come.
Things to come, like similarities between the two.
Mhm.
So it's not out of the realm of possibility that Boba Fett survived getting eaten by that creature, because if Mando can do it, even though he had explosions.
I'm fully expecting that we're gonna be seeing him at some point. And obviously we're gonna be seeing the likes of Gina Carano's character at some point, Sasha Banks. I want to say Sasha is in episode 2, maybe episode 3 of the series. So I'm very excited to see how her character is going to be. But I tell
Or
you,
who
man,
she
like,
plays, yeah.
yeah, right. I tell you though, like, just watching this episode, anytime they turn to like Baby Yoda, every look he has is a freaking meme GIF. Like, that's
Yes.
gonna be played over and over again. It's going to be hilarious.
There's like at least 2 different types of gifs. One when he's riding on the bike on the side and he just has a smile on his face. Reminds me of that Geico commercial with the pig. The wee.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me. And when he hides in the pot or something, he comes up, or the thing, or his pod closes. This was
He's
Baby
like,
Yoda.
nope.
Nope, this was Baby Yoda hiding week. So those are going to be great. So I'm excited to see where this goes, because this is more, I think, more lore and background that most people are used to. That because I think season 1 was more, as expected, more background and stuff more open to original story, and then it ties in that the black lightsaber at the end. So it gets into stuff that if you watched everything, it was the black lightsaber, the Clone Wars animated series that ties that in. And then now we get Boba Fett, we saw at the end. It's, if not confirmed, obviously. There, and because I was reading, they had I think in the Star Wars Legends, that technically wasn't canon, about how what happened to Boba Fett and all that stuff. So if it's
Right.
not canon, it leaves a fresh slate that they could come up with their own story, and so it's not you don't have anything you really have to follow per se. As long as it's good, I have no reason to think it's not. So we get to see what happened to Boba Fett. We see the possible Ahsoka Tano that everybody, one of the Clone Wars characters and Rebels characters, everybody pretty much enjoys. There's Sasha Banks's character that we don't know exactly who she's playing. So I know there's a lot of stuff they can do, and there's how many 8 episodes?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same amount of episodes as season 1, and for how much production that they were putting into this thing. I mean, I'm not really surprised, because I think I read something from season 1 that they were putting in at least like 50 million per episode or something like that. Like it was something really insane. So, but then again, when you have over 60 million subscribers on Disney Plus, and it is Disney after all. So, but I very much enjoyed the episode. Just Mando is just like, dude is just such a badass. Like in the opening scene when those guys try and gang up on him, and he's just like not even batting a freaking eye, and Baby Yoda shuts his like pod. He was like, "Yep, people are gonna die here," and sure enough, he just kills everyone and kills a guy who tried to kill him. By some like creatures or something just end up eating him at night. So yeah, I'm very interested to see where things go. And did they leave Tatooine, or are they
Well,
still
at the end of the
on
episode, he was riding back to, I guess, give the bike back, and that's when we saw
Okay.
Boba Fett. So they were still on Tatooine
Okay.
as of the episode. So we'll see if we get more of Boba Fett or
Right.
what have you.
Right. Okay. Well, and we shall see how that goes. Oh, and another thing that I wanted to like talk about, and I didn't even tell you about this, but we had some tragic news this morning.
Oh yes,
Sean Connery passed away, and what some are considering the best him the best James Bond character to ever play that character. Was he your favorite James Bond, or do you have someone else?
It would be incomplete because I don't think I've really watched a complete Sean Connery Bond movie, to be completely honest. Which
Niz would be strangling you right now.
he already knows. He already knows.
But
they all know.
They all know. Yeah. I mean, he was in Indiana Jones too. I think he played Harrison Ford's father in one of them. Right.
Indiana Jones. When he played all the movies here, I'm kind of looking. I remember the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, that movie flopped. I wanted to see it. Some movies here. He was Robin Hood and the Prince of Thieves in 1991.
Yeah.
The Hunt for Red October that everybody raves. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I think the Untouchables. I think it was good movie. Highlander, I think that's a
Mm.
bigger movie. Okay, Never Say Never Again. You got James Bond. I'm probably missing some
But I tell you too,
big
man.
movies.
Between his like films and SNL's spoof of him on Celebrity Jeopardy, I've watched those skits so many times now, and they're some of the classics there. And Will Ferrell with his as his Alex Trebek
Yeah.
person down, and I forget the guy who spoofs Connery, but he does him.
Oh,
There,
I know it's. I can't believe I can't remember. Oh, Daryl Hammond. Daryl Hammond.
Yep.
That's it.
Daryl Hammond. Yep.
Yeah,
like he like just I mean it's I mean like that I mean that's some original more old school SNL there, but like I mean that was great, but I will like for me when I think of Sean Connery, it's always going to be for 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 Bond. Although
yeah.
I,
The
I
first
do
Bond.
yeah, first Bond. I think he's going to be always synonymous with that. And I think he is the best. If I had to pick a second, probably Daniel Craig is probably second for me. Um, but I mean, it's obviously a really good, a really good franchise. But Sean Connery really set that bar for that character, and it's been pretty much impossible for anyone to even come close to even topping that. But I think, in my opinion, the closest guy who has come to that is Daniel Craig, and I will probably at some point this week will be rewatching Goldfinger at some point. So yeah, rest in peace on Sean Connery. I I did not also realize as well, man. He was 90. I was like, wow. I thought he was a like a lot younger than that. Maybe just because based off of his appearance of just some of the
Yeah,
of the images that popped up, he just did not look anywhere near that old. So
yeah.
it's
I
like
didn't know he
wow.
was living in the Bahamas. Apparently,
Yeah.
died in the Bahamas.
Well, yeah. And supposedly he had other houses in like Scotland, and I think I read somewhere that he had something in Spain as well. But he had been living predominantly
Yeah, he was
in
born in
the
1930. Yep. I think he
mhm.
made the movies. He was making movies. The Bond movies were in the 60s. Um,
Wow.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken here. I just had it up. Hang on. Dr. No, 1962. Goldfinger, 1964. From Russia with Love, 1963. Um, so, I mean, that's just 3 years with Bond movies back to holy crap. Uh, Indiana Jones Last Crusade was 1989, like looked much older. Obviously, Diamonds Are Forever, 1971. Never Say Never Again, 1983. Only Live Twice, 1967. So people can't complain about uh, being inundated with James Bond movies now
No.
when pretty much there was a stretch there 90, 62, 63, 64, 67. Like, just they're just cranking out classics.
It generated a lot of money, man. I mean, he really did. But yep.
Yep.
So all right, now we're going to move on to some NFL talk here. So obviously, when we think of like Week 7, Matt, definitely the first game that comes into to our minds, obviously, would be with the Titans and the Steelers. That was a game that gave me a freaking heart attack, to say the least. That took a long time to like just kind of just get down from. After that crazy ass finisher.
On a quick side tangent, just because we're talking
Yeah,
about football, Boston
yeah.
College is leading Clemson 28-10.
Uh,
13 seconds left in the first half.
post Trevor Lawrence era, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, so obviously the Steelers remain undefeated and are the lone undefeated team in the NFL, which is going to put them in some like crazy like national media talk on a daily basis, and I tell you, Matt, if they somehow beat Baltimore this week, I mean, if you look at the next 3 games, I think they are at Dallas. I think they have
They
Cincinnati.
got at Dallas, home against Cincy, at the
Mhm.
Jaguars.
Yeah, so they could very realistically be 10-0 this season. I think that is very possible if they beat Baltimore. But just going back to the Titans game real quick. I thought that this game should not have been even close. I mean, it was 24-7 at like halftime. It just in the second half, mainly in the third quarter, Matt, they just took their foot off of the freaking gas, turned the ball over, and just gave up a few big plays. And if it wasn't for a Stephen Koskowski miss, I think there's a pretty good chance they probably lose that game. So I mean, it doesn't hurt to be lucky sometimes, but man, you could even tell after the game, Ben and that whole team were pretty pissed off about how they played, and rightfully so. But now, it's just I still feel very very good about the team. Obviously, 6-0, but definitely some things that they need to get corrected there. What were your thoughts about the game?
I just I always feel like if we go out ahead big, that it's never safe, just historically.
Yep.
Because it only takes, and this is for anybody, it only takes like one big play for the other team, and it's just crazy how momentum works and in sports.
Right.
Most of the time, that when I forget what play it was, that it was like, because I remember me and my dad were like, oh, this is like here we go, give him the momentum. It might have, was it the long touchdown pass or run? Did they have that?
Yeah.
It might have been that. Yeah, it
That
might have been that.
That was what I feel changed the whole game there, because I feel like because that was on like third down too. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
and if like Vince and if like Vince Williams would have tipped that, pretty good chance that was probably getting picked off there,
Or at the very least incomplete.
right. So but I mean, like I think some people were overreacting as well, because I mean the Steelers were by far the better team. I mean, like I think that is.
I wasn't worried about that touchdown, because it's hard to keep somebody down for only 7 points. Obviously, that team who's good, so it's not like, oh, we're screwed. But it was like, you never know. They're gonna probably get some pushback here.
Right.
If we would have, I think it was, if the offense didn't stall out in the second half, I think we're not talking about this. If even just field goals or just chipping points on, we're okay.
And two, we pretty much took out Derrick Henry in this game.
Yes.
He was pretty much a like non-factor, and
especially the first half.
Especially in the first half. And
only,
I tell you, man,
20 carries for 75 yards.
And I tell you, our offense, man, it's it's becoming pretty consistent week after week. They're hard to play against just because with like Ben and this wide receiving core, just there's so many guys who can beat you because so far this year it's been someone new every single week. Like week one, it was like Juju. One week it'll be like Chase Claypool. Another week it'll be like Deontay Johnson, who had a like a very big game on Sunday. It's just I feel like that there's really no defense that is going to eliminate everyone
Yeah,
on this team. I
somebody's
mean,
going to.
right. And,
Ben can find something. It's all about if the offensive line can do their blocking, if everybody gets their assignments right, and Ben's not. I mean, Ben can scramble and make plays, but if you get to Ben in enough time, or
oh
maybe
yeah,
even that's the
if he
big
has time,
thing. If he has
if he has
time,
time, it's game over. Like you
um,
can't.
but if
I
you
mean,
have to get to him, you got to
mhm.
get him and not just
But
think he's down, because he can extend plays better than almost anybody in this league still. Um, and
and
you just
and the thing too is, Matt. And when teams do decide to send some, to send some guys after him, he's one of the best quarterbacks against the blitz. Like he has torched teams so far this year who have tried sending. Like the Philadelphia did that quite often, and um and I think that was Chase. Yeah, that was Chase Claypool who was just torturing them all game long. It's just I feel really good, and I also feel too Matt Canada's influence is all over this offense, which I freaking love. I mean, like you're definitely seeing a lot of 2016 Pitt here, and some wrinkles. So I'm really liking where that's going. Defense, they were good. Just yeah, you want to take out some of those big plays there, but for the most part, they played pretty damn good. And I tell you, man, Roberts playing on that goal line tackle, like
on
you
Henry
like he
and
threw
knocked
his
him out.
whole and knocked him out, and like he came back on the next series. So I mean, he has played pretty well. And who's substituting for Devin Bush, but like TJ Bud, all of those guys played extremely well, and now they're facing Baltimore in Baltimore. I'm very interested to see how that goes, just because up until this point, Matt, Baltimore hasn't really impressed me. I mean, they have also have had a pretty easy schedule, and outside of Kansas City, which obviously that did not go all too well. So so we're definitely are going to be finding out a lot this week, but at the same time too, a loss here, guys, does not mean that the season's over. And Jesus Christ, I swear it's gonna happen. They're like, oh, like season's over. This team wasn't real. Blah blah blah. I'm just,
And
it's just like,
well, the
it's
Steelers are not real. They're not who they think they are. But
right,
6-1, 6-1 between
exactly.
the two.
I'll gladly I'll gladly take them 6-1. But
Yeah.
hell, seven. If they go 7-0, then they will be 2 games up on Cleveland and like Baltimore,
Yeah.
and on top of that, owning a like tiebreaker over them as well. So this is a very important game for the Steelers here. So we
Yeah.
will see how all of that goes. Now, other games, Matt. Some things I'm looking at here. Atlanta Falcons. I mean, like they did it. They did it again last Sunday, and I will give them props. So on Thursday night, they finally held on to a freaking lead. But man, how the like Todd Gurley mistakenly scores a touchdown with a few minutes, and he said that he wasn't going to score. He accidentally scores, and then Detroit comes all the way back and like wins. Like, is there a more and like? I don't know if there are any other bigger choke artists than the Atlanta Falcons. How everything involving Atlanta right now is just it's just it's just would feel bad if you are an Atlanta sports fan. Like, you have just have to have gone through so much heartbreak with
with baseball and Falcons and the Super Bowl, and now this season of just blowing leads.
like from
I'll give
Georgia.
it.
Georgia too has had feel like national titles where they were pretty close as well with Alabama. It's just
At one point,
man.
Atlanta. Here we go. Atlanta had a 96.6% chance of winning this game when it was first and 10 at Detroit's own 38 with 34 seconds left in the game, according to ESPN, after Stafford spiked the ball to stop the clock, and it was 22-16. 96.6% chance of winning with 34 seconds left. And he lose. Given it's still a lead, but like the way they lost,
it's just God, like, you just
feel
bad for them. But other games, Tampa Bay really dominant over
Vegas.
Over Vegas. Chiefs destroyed Denver. Like, that game wasn't even close.
Washington destroyed the Cowboys.
Jesus. Like, this should put into perspective, Matt, of how great of a coaching job that freaking Mike Tomlin did with the 2019 Steelers. That Dallas team, they might not win 2 or 3 more games this year. Like, their quarterback for this week, Matt.
So yet they can win the division still, right?
It just like I just cannot believe how bad this team is, and that hit on Andy Dalton. Like, if that was Ben, Pouncey would have killed at least 2 or 3 guys. In that whole thing, it just horrible coaching, horrible leadership on that team, and ever since Dak went out, the heart and soul was just completely gone. And even in that horrible NFC East, I don't know if they win 2 or 3 more games, because their offensive line is completely shredded with injuries. They've had injuries. Their defense is horrible, and when you're third and they're down to their third string quarterback, former Pitt quarterback Ben.
Here's their schedule. Well, looking at the schedule, there's only 2 teams right now out of the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait a minute, that's not right. 3 teams out of the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever rest of the season that have a winning record. They're going to play. They play the Eagles, Vikings, Washington again. You got Baltimore, that's 1. Steelers, that's 2. The Bengals, the 49ers, that's 3, but they're at 4-3. The Eagles, and then the Giants.
You would think that they could win at least 2 or 3 of those games, but I mean, for how bad that this Dallas team is, I mean, for how many injuries that they have suffered, most importantly, Matt, this team has quit. Like, they quit on this coaching staff.
Sunday night. They're on Sunday Night Football against the Eagles this Sunday. And they're in Philadelphia as a 10.5 point favorite.
As it should be. Like, just Dallas is one of the top 3 worst teams right now. Like out and honestly, if they played against the freaking Jets right now, Jets, I think beat them. Like it just there's not one good thing on Dallas right now outside of hair like a wide receivers, but it doesn't matter since they don't have a quarterback to actually give them the ball there. So yeah, so Dallas was having issues. Yeah, and Buffalo, man, they really struggled
against the Jets.
against the Jets. You gotta kind of wonder about them as a team because ever since that they played against Tennessee, they really haven't been the same. They struggled against Tennessee. They struggled against Kansas City. Well, hell, it's Kansas City, but it just and they still have to play. They still have to play New New England, even though that is nowhere near a former Patriots team there.
Oh,
Us,
Cam is struggling.
yeah.
Um,
But I think they need to really step up. I still think that they win the AFC East, but I'm not a believer in them as being a legitimate contender right now. To me, I think as I look at the AFC right now, Matt, it's Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Kansas City, um, and Tennessee. To me, are the current those are the current four best teams right now. Um,
yeah.
and until Buffalo is a little bit more consistent, especially on offense, they're I think a lot of people are going to be writing writing them off just because of how inconsistent they are on both offense and on defense. Because if you recall the Tennessee game, Derrick Henry just ran all over them, just like they were having 8 or 9 guys in the freaking box, and they were still shredding them. Um, so we'll see what happens with them. Oh, and speaking of the Patriots, 33-6 at home. And like, granted, no fans, but Jesus, I mean, like that for how many injuries that the San Francisco 49ers have had, Matt, no one expected that. Like, just
You
for
can't
how
win. Yeah, just both
horrible.
3 interceptions,
Horrible.
9 for 15 for 98 yards. Garoppolo had only two interceptions, no touchdowns, but 20 for 25 for 277.
Mm-hmm.
Harris rushing for New England with only 10 carries, 58 yards, compared to Wilson Jr. for San Francisco, 17 carries, 112, and 3 touchdowns. So
Yeah, and like he got hurt in that game at the end there. So San Francisco loses another running back. I mean, just that team cannot catch a break there.
they put in Stidham, whatever,
Yeah,
for New
yeah,
England.
yes, hit him.
I guess he finished. Did he finish the game?
Yep, he did.
He went 6 for 10, 64 yards, 1
Mhm.
interception. So New England had 4 interceptions throughout that game.
It's been
Both quarterbacks, 15 for 25 for 147. So
yeah. They've been having horrible quarterback play all season, and that has been the story right now. And I tell you, Cincinnati really should have beaten Cleveland. The fact that they needed 5 touchdowns from like Baker.
yep,
I
5
mean,
touchdowns, 1 interception.
it's like
He
it
started
just
out like crap, and he kind of just Undertaker
yeah,
rose from the dead in the second
yeah,
half.
yeah. I
Because
mean that team, man, is just they have talent everywhere, but that quarterback is going to hold them back. But they also need to start playing better on on defense too. They have like not have been good on that side of the ball there. So like I mean, if they want to try and stay in contention with the Baltimore's and the Pittsburghs, like they need to step up their game
Yeah,
there
because they're
because
playing Vegas. Both pretty much score the same points per game, 28.5 for Vegas, 28.6, and both defenses give up about the same amount of points.
yeah, that's gonna be
32.8
really
for Vegas, 31.6 for Cleveland. Yards allowed, 409.8 Vegas, 400.6 for Cleveland, and the passing yards allowed 290 for Vegas, 308.4 for Cleveland on
yeah.
average.
That's going to be a pretty close game, I feel. So
Pick the over.
yeah, definitely pick the
It's
over.
49 and a half.
Right. And I'm trying. Oh, and the last thing I wanted to talk about too, Matt, Seattle. I will say this about Seattle: really good offense, but man, until that defense starts playing better, they are not going to be in the Super Bowl. Like pretty much, Russell Wilson needs to play like freaking Superman every single week. It's really hard to win games like that. Like I mean, I think they are giving up on average over on 30 points. Has to be.
Who?
I'm going. Seattle. So
Yeah,
let's look. So
look.
let's look at their games. They've given up 25, 30, 31,
I can look.
23.
Points
20,
allowed per
20.
game, 28.7.
Yeah, like I mean, like it's
373 yards over
mm-hmm.
average in the passing game, 110 on the rushing game.
Right. And outside against like Miami, Matt, I mean, they're giving up 25 points every single game, and just
average 28 points. They're scoring 33, but they're giving up 28. San Francisco's only giving up 19.4 per game.
Yeah.
So
and for how many injuries that are on that team, like that's pretty incredible. And to me, if that game stays in the 18 to 25 point range, that plays into San Francisco's favor because to me, Seattle, like if they cannot stop San Francisco's running game, that's going to be a very long day, and they're going to really shorten that game for the Seattle Seahawks. So I definitely think they're going to be like making some moves at the trading deadline, which I believe is on Tuesday next week, which ironically is on election day. But so yeah, that was pretty much all of the NFL talk. I'm gonna get one last look at here before we decide to move on. Okay, so Matt, the last thing we're going to talk about is we have World Series champions. Yes, the LA Dodgers finally, for the first time since 1988, are World Series champions, and they finally get the freaking like monkey off of their back. Kershaw has been battling all kinds of demons and just failures year after year, but they finally get the job done. But in Game 6, pretty much everyone wanted to kill Tampa Bay's manager for taking out
yes,
for taking out Snell, I think it was, who was I think he had only 73 pitches when they pulled him, and that's just to me another example, Matt, of just analytics dominating baseball and not just going by, oh, he's only thrown 73 pitches. It's like, what are you saving him for? It's do or die here. I would rather die by having my like best pitcher going when he's on rather than depending on someone who's coming into the game completely cold. And sure enough, that is what ultimately cost him this game.
Yeah, I think I take a nap. I missed the switch. So I woke up to all the hullabaloo and I was like,
Yeah.
oh no.
Yep.
The other side of that coin is that Tampa Bay couldn't hit,
At
regardless. They
all.
only got,
Yeah.
but they survived all the way through to that point, to Game 6. Or no, wait,
Mhm.
that was Game 7, right? No, wait, that was Game 6, right? Yeah, they needed to win to force Game 7.
Right.
So then you throw that all out the window, Game 7. But yeah, what could have been, I was pulling for Tampa Bay,
Hmm.
um, but this gets that notion of Kershaw can't win in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Adds over. Um, but the big thing uh, with this wasn't that they won, but it was like, oh, Justin Turner got to test positive for COVID, got
And
pulled from the game, and then
he's out there, just
out
like not giving
there,
a shit.
and then everybody, the celebration was marred by
Awkward.
that, and
Well, yeah. Well, and Did you s- see like a Manfred's speech too? Like that was, ugh, that was awkward.
yeah, everybody's talking about how he was like slurring, but figured out it was probably the the in ear monitor was probably slightly delayed from what he was hearing in
Mhm.
there to the echo or the delay from the stadium. I mean, it makes sense because that has happened to me, even doing this, with trying to get the delay of trying to hear myself uh in these headphones talking, and it would be using the OBS, it kind of be slightly off, and I'd be talking, and I'd be like, "Nyeh, nyeh, nyeh, nyeh," because you're hearing yourself slightly off, and it screws with you. And so that's why I have plugged into the soundboard directly into these headphones, and then I have these wired these other ones in my ear from my computer. It's pretty much just you, so I can hear
Mhm.
both at the same time. Um, so that's understandable. Other people talked about how he did the same thing when he was in the booth when he was doing it at a Pirate game.
Yeah.
So
I recall that. It's,
who knows? But that was a logical explanation. Um, so who knows? But yeah, I guess congratulations to the Dodgers. Um,
Mhm. And as we now move into the off season now, so I'm very interested to see when spring training does roll around, if the pandemic is still like knee deep, as we are now, because I believe it was yesterday that over 100,000 more cases were like recorded. So this thing doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon yet, but hopefully by then we have a like vaccine by then that's going to be rolled out at least a little bit. But with that, everything going on, who knows? But
yeah.
Matt, if you have nothing else to add here, I think we will
No,
probably
nothing off
close.
the top of my head. Yeah. So thanks everybody for watching this little special live edition of the podcast. Just the way our schedules worked, and if we're recording, I don't think there was a way to get it saved. It'd be thinking hard to get out by 3. It would have been close if all things were the same right now. So yeah, a little special treat for you guys. Again, thanks for watching. Either those watching live or later, once this gets uploaded. Yeah, so this was episode 64. We'll be again back next Saturday, most likely pre-recorded at 3:15. Every Saturday, every episode for episode 65. Uh, Most likely, for your wrestling fans, the live stream to talk about the week of wrestling, Raw, SmackDown, AEW, and NXT. Usually,
Also too, next Saturday is like a full gear. I think we're gonna be doing a like live stream for
probably.
that there. So yeah,
I forgot
stay
about
tuned
that
for
next week. Yeah.
that as
So
well.
usually we do that Fridays after SmackDowns. That way we can see all the shows because SmackDown is one of our favorite shows consistently now. And it's get that immediate take after. Plus it's Friday and it's the weekend and we don't have to worry about getting up early. So it's easy for us.
Yep.
So that's that. So again, thanks for watching. Again, like, comment, and subscribe. Very much appreciated. So for John on your right, I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.